Last year, we had 144 books on this list. This year, I'm worried. You wouldn't know it to look at what we're about to go through, but I am trying to actually get my physical TBR down to a reasonable amount of books. I'd like to downsize, but they all still sound so good. So, like, I can't get rid of them. I have been better this year about reading books as I buy them rather than, letting them sit on my shelf for forever. Because of the 42 books that I just hauled, 22 of them I have read. So that's just a smidge over half. So I'm very proud of myself there. Like we said, 144 books last year. Of those books I have read 12 and I unhauled 4. So that's 16 books that we get to take away from that number. So I've got 129 books that are left over from that last physical TBR. And now we're going to find out what the number is. So, without further ado, let's get going. We're just going to start out with my mass market paperbacks that I have. Just a little stack, easy to deal with. I'm going to just pull them out and we're going to talk about them. When I say talk about them, I mean I'm going to say the title and the author's name, and that is it. Because we're not getting into any synopses, because at this point I've forgotten the synopses for most of these. We've got A Hero of the World by Tanith Lee, The Widower's Two-Step by Rick Riordan. This is his adult series, the Tress Navarre series. Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, Dragon Quest by Anne McCaffrey, Innocent Mage and Awakened Mage by Karen Miller. Why I have still held on to these, I don't know. Do I even want to read them? That's a serious question we need to ask ourselves. The Last King of Texas by Rick Riordan. This is the last book, I think, in the Tress Navarre series. Not entirely sure. Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. And then Heroes Return and Heroes at Risk by Moira J. Moore. These are the last 2 books in the series. Well, no, there's one more book, and I'm very nervous because, the series kind of got canceled. Moving on to my black spines, which are the ones that live on this shelf. We've got How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. I'm planning to reread the entire Cruel Prince series, and then I'm actually going to get around to finally reading this. Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenny Elder Moak. All American Boys by Jason Reynolds. Winterborn Home for Vengeance and Valor by Allie Carter. We Ride the Storm by David Madsen. Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. King Leopold Ghost by Adam Hochschild. A Prayer for Vengeance by Leanne Schwartz. The Shadow Sister by Lily Mead. I also have a duplicate copy somewhere over in the purple books. The Whispering Dark by Kelly Andrew. Conceal, Don't Feel by Jen Kalanita. The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. The Tower of Fools by Andrzej Sapkowski. The Wren Hunt by Mary Watson. The Grace Mysteries by Grace Cavendish, which is a pen name. It's a historical fiction series. I'm not entirely sure what they're going for here, but it's odd. We still have A Quarter Frosted Starlight on here by Sarah J. Maas. We have The Maidens still by Alex Michaelides. The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. Again, this is another one that I was working on a reread, and I was going to read it in chronological order of when you're supposed to read it with a series, and we're still stuck on Ruin and Rising. Eventually, I'm going to get to the end of that project. Babel by R.F. Kuang. One Person, No Vote by Carol Anderson. Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is one where I need to reread the first one before I read this one, because I didn't, we missed some pieces in that first one. Stars Above by Marissa Meyer. Address for the Wicked by Autumn Krause. The Labyrinth's Archivist by Day Al Mohammed. This is one that has got, it's definitely got my setting spray on it. I got the book because it filled a prompt for Avengers, but it's part of a series, so I feel like I need to read that first. Moving on to The White Spines, there is a big old elephant in the room that we need to address. There's a book that is in this section that I would be talking about, except it is a Wednesday book, which means that it's part of the St. Martin's Press. I will have all of that linked down below. They still have not met the reviewers' very reasonable demands. I will not be talking about any of the books until the boycott ends. It is a lot of books, so forgive me if I miss one. I am going through these before I film, and then I'm going through after, so hopefully I will have weeded out any that are part of the St. Martin's Press 5. I will have all of that linked down below. There is an Instagram, there are several videos explaining what's going on there, and yeah, we're asking St. Martin's Press to address what they have done to to make up for the actions of their employee and the concerns that reviewers have that this person has been specifically skipping out on reviewers of color. I have gone into detail about what that boycott is about in other videos, but I just wanted to let you know that there is a video on here, or a book. There is a book on here that is going to go up in the counter, but it is not going to be shown on screen. So we have Seven Wonders, The Colossus Rises by Peter Leverangus. We have A Slice of Cherry by Dia Reeves. This is one that was in my unhaul pile, but somebody that I trusted said they really liked it, and so I was like, well, I guess I need to read this. If I remember correctly, this is about two girls that their father is a serial killer. We have A Little Hatred by J. Abercrombie. I have to read like 6 other books before I can get to this one, so we're gonna start working on it. The Ivies by Alexa Dunn. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Rule of Wolves by Lee Bardugo. And then we have The Fragile Threads of Power by V.E. Schwab. Moving on to our red and pink books, we're gonna start out with the prequels to the Darker Shades of Magic series by V.E. Schwab. This is The Steel Prince. At some point, I'm going to read this. We also have The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland and A Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente. Hearts, Strings, and Other Broken Things by Jacqueline of Firkins. Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute by Talia Hibbert. A Great and Terrible King, Edward I and the Forging of Britain by Mark Morris. Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones. Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy I. Lynn. Blood Like Magic by Lizelle Sambury. The Castle School for Troubled Girls by Alyssa Scheinmel. A remainder copy of A Countess of Below Stairs by Eva Ibbotson. It's a retelling of Cinderella from what I understand. And I got it from a friend who used to work at Barnes & Noble. Here's another one that's got setting spray on it. Oops. The Trials of Apollo, Book 2, The Dark Prophecy by Rick Riordan. The Magical Imperfect by Chris Barron. The Fascinators by Andrew Eliopoulos. The Matchmaker's Lonely Heart by Nancy Campbell Allen. Containment by Karen Licks. And Angel Mage by Garth Nix. To Love and to Loathe by Martha Waters. Tithe by Holly Black. Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. And Nine Liars by Maureen Johnson. Why I have Book 5 and not Book 4, do not ask me. I don't know. We've made it to the yellow books. I have Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Undercover Bromance by Alyssa K. Adams. The Trouble with Hating You by Sajni Patel. Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the second or third book of the Howl's Moving Castle series. At some point, I need to finish the series. Invisible Women, Data, Bias in a World Designed for Men by Carolyn Criado Perez. Suspense and Sensibility, or a First Impressions Revisited. Carrie Bebris. Glory Happening by Caitlin B. Curtis. Ghost by Jason Reynolds. How to Read a Book. The Classic Guide to Intelligent Reading by Mortimer J. Adler and Charles Van Doren. And, oh my god, I need both hands for this one. Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. With the green books, we have Heir Apparent by Vivian Van Velde. This is one that I read as a teenager, and I want to reread, but I just keep putting it off. The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Jane Austen Goes to Hollywood by Abby McDonald. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Valiant by Holly Black. Stolen Songbird by Danielle L. Jensen. Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. And Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan. Alright, we've gotten to the worst offender when it comes to the color category for the blue books. We're gonna be here for a while. We have 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. Pride and Prescience, or A Truth Universally Acknowledged by Carrie Bebris. The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson. Beach Read by Emily Henry. 10,000 Stitches by Olivia Atwater. I absolutely loved the first book 2 years ago at this point. It was in 2022. But it's still like last year for me. Absolutely loved it, so I obviously had to go out and buy the second book. Once a King by Erin Summerall. The Matzo Ball by Jean Meltzer. Party for Two by Jasmine Guillory. The 100 Years War on Palestine, A History of Settler Colonialism and Resistance, 1917 to 2017 by Rashid Khalidi. Before the Devil Knows You're Here by Autumn Krause. The Marriage Game by Sarah Desai. Oasis by Katya Becerra. This is a holdover from when I still subscribed to Book of the Month. It's been a while. Beyond a Darkened Shore by Jessica Leek. I think this was one of my first book box books that I got and posted online. A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kimmerer. The Infernal Devices, the complete trilogy by Cassandra Clare. Art by Hayek Young Bake. Technically, I've read this because I read the original series so many times, but I haven't read, oh my god, they look so ridiculously angsty and emo. I haven't read this yet, so technically it's unread. I don't know. What does it go on my Cassandra Clare's shelf or does it go on my Unread shelf? It is so thick, it's not going on my Unread shelf. We also have The Heart of Betrayal and The Beauty of Darkness by Mary E. Pearson. This is one that I read the first book, absolutely loved it, found these in my little library, and then promptly forgot to finish the series. So I need to reread the first book because it's been a while. Once Upon a Time by, I believe it's Odette Bean, but it is definitely, yeah, it's Odette Bean, but it is definitely a pseudonym. The Book Jumper by Meckfield Glaser, Ironside by Holly Black, The Archived by V.E. Schwab, Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funke, Confessions of a Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella, Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tirza Price. This is so shiny, I don't know what to do. There we go. The Archer at Dawn by Swati Tirhala. This is another one where I need to reread the first book before I can continue on with this series because it's been a while. Oh, we've moved on to my favorite color, the purple books. I've got less of these, but still, oh, we're still so far from the end. It's fine. Because Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett, Because You Love to Hate Me by Various, That Inevitable Victorian Thing by E.K. Johnston, The Adventures of Amina Al-Sharafi by S.A. Chakraborty, Rosemarked by Olivia Blackburn, The Narrow by Kate Alice Marshall, House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones. This is either the second or the third Howl's Moving Castle book, but I don't know which one because they didn't put numbers. The third book in the Stormrunner series by J.C. Cervantes, The Shadow Crosser. I don't know how I ended up getting this one and not the first two. I don't. I have no idea. The Stars of Whistling Ridge by Cindy Baldwin, The Night Spinner by Addie Thorley, The Magic Thief by Sarah Prinius, The Thief Lord by Cornelia Funke, Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay, Race to the Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse, and Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee by Jeff Zentner. Moving on to my brown spines, or what passes for brown, we've got In the Time of the Dragon Moon by Janet Lee Carey. This is the third book in the series. I picked it up because I had a gift card and didn't even check to see if it was part of the series. So I don't know. I just don't know. Coronets and Steel by Sherwood Smith, Dragonspell by Danita K. Paul, Hollow City by Ransom Rakes, The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis, and King of Scars by Lee Bardugo. Eventually I'm gonna get to these, I promise. All right, moving on to our great books. We have the entire Hush Hush trilogy. We've got Hush Hush, Crescendo, and Finale. I keep hanging on to these, thinking I'm going to read them because I have them, but I just don't know. From what I understand, it's like Twilight, but with angels and demons. Please, someone tell me if I should read this series. I don't know. We have Afterworlds by Scott Westerfeld. He's written some of my favorite series, so eventually I do need to get to this. It's like a book within a book, and it's about writers. It's very interesting to me. We also have Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham. He is one half of the duo that does the Leviathan Wake, or the Expanse series, so I wanted to see what he was like on his own. We also have The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. Okay, we're in the home stretch. We're almost done. We're getting there. We've got the nonfiction and the manga, and we're done. I've got Driven to Distraction, Recognizing and Coping with Attention Deficit Disorder from Childhood Through Adulthood by Edward M. Hallowell, MD, and John J. Rady, MD. Edward M. Hallowell, especially, I know is someone that comes up a lot when you're doing research into ADHD. He kind of is the guy that did a lot of the early research and a lot of the early scholarship on ADHD and treatment and all of that stuff. So I've been told that this is a very good resource if you are trying to see about possibly getting an ADHD diagnosis, trying to learn a little bit more about my brain and how it works, and see if there are things I can do to help it work better again, because she don't work good right now. I also have Inspired, Slaying Giants, Walking on Water, and Loving the Bible again by Rachel Held Evans. I don't know. I've read some of this. I just never finished it. The next one is more of a resource book, but I wanted to mention it because it's kind of cool. It is The Monsters Know What They're Doing, Combat Tactics for Dungeon Masters by Keith Ammon. This is more of a, like, if you're wondering how a specific monster would behave or a specific bad guy would behave in while you're, like, planning a session, you just kind of look through this. I found it very helpful in trying to figure out, like, tactics for different creatures, and it does help me kind of make sure that I'm building authentic experiences for my players, or like experiences that are not just me doing stuff on a whim, when you actually are able to sit back and like think about what the monster's psychological, like where they are and what they would be thinking, and what like it's just very interesting. So I'm enjoying it. It's good. And it's very helpful if you're a dungeon master. We also have Faith Unraveled, How a Girl Who Knew All the Answers Learned to Ask Questions by Rachel Held Evans. Got Me and White Supremacy, Combat Racism, Change the World, and Become a Good Ancestor by Layla F. Saad. The Behemoth It Is, The 1619 Project, which is created by and edited by Nicole Hannah Jones. Cast, The Origins of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. This was one I found in my free little library and picked it up. How to Be a Tutor, A Down Till Dusk Guide to Tutor Life by Ruth Goodman. Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl. And then we also have Native Identity, Belonging, and Rediscovering God by Caitlin B. Curtis. And then we also have Writing the Breakout Novel, Insider Advice for Taking Your Fiction to the Next Level by Donald Moss. This is probably so freaking out of date. This was published in 2001, and publishing has gone through quite a few changes in the last couple of years, so I don't know. We also have Dear Ally, How Do You Write a Book by Ally Carter, The Death of Democracy, Hitler's Rise to Power, and the Downfall of the Weimar Republic by Benjamin Carter Head. This is one that a podcaster that my favorite podcast is Behind the Bastards, and he has mentioned this on a couple of podcasts, I think, especially in regards to looking at the right wing and far-right extremism and comparing it back to this. So I have been, there's this one, and then there's one other book that I still need to pick up at some point. Okay, we have the manga, and we're done. My shoulders hurt so badly, guys. Oh my god, they are just like so sore because I've been holding up books all day. It's fine. We have The Melancholy of Suzumiya Haruhi-chan by Puyo and Nagaru Tanigawa. We also have Magical Girl Raising Project by Pochi Edoya. Original story is by Asari Indao. I have Yona of the Dawn, Volume 1 by Mizuho Kasanagi. And then I have Volumes 3, 4, and 5 of Spy X Family by Tatsuya Endo. Volume 5 of My Hero Academia by Kohei Horikoshi. I am probably going to have to read the first 4 volumes again. Also, I have The Promised Neverland by Kaiju Shirai and Pasuka Demizu. There's also Not Your Idol Volume 2 by Aoi Makino. And then we have a volume... Oh, I've read this. Why do I have... Oh, wait, this just needed to be called. It's Volume 1 of Batman Nightfall. I need to reread this so I can read Volume 2. Hi, I'm back. So, I counted. And it's not great. It's not great, but it is not, I was thinking we were going to be like up at the 160s, almost 200, but it's only 146. Did I really just say only 146? Oh my god. It's a lot. I need to unhaul some of these. I really need to sit down and go through and unhaul some of these, but it could be worse. I need opinions. I need to know what people think. Obviously, some of these are not going because I know, like, their favorite authors. I'm not touching the Cassie Clare, the Rick Riordan, the V.E. Schwab. We're not getting rid of some of these. We're not touching the nonfiction because most of those I do want to keep. Let me know if there are any that I should get to sooner or just get rid of, or just, I need opinions and thoughts and, like, did you like them? Were they interesting to you? Please. And thank you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I'll have other videos over here. We're not doing the 12 Days of Margaret this year because life, but I will have whatever my most recent video is up here, and then whatever YouTube thinks you should watch next, right down here. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!